Welcome home, everybody. Good to see you. Pound it. Bring it on in. Kind of an awkward little intro, I guess, or just that was a little awkward silence. Anyway, it's good to see y'all. Man, it's been a long time, hasn't it? Man, it's been an age. It's been, I was gonna say decade, but it's not that been long. But it's been a whole year since we've talked. Man, I can still use that joke because this is the first time I'm actually seeing you guys. Y'all look great, by the way. I see that New Year's resolution. I always say New Year's lifestyle instead because resolutions can. Anyway, it's not important. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are doing great. Anyway, so guys, listen. Before we get into this video, I just want to say that this is going to be a little bit different than the standard videos that I've done. Coming back, from what is it, man? Geez, 3 months. 3 months since the last. I think the last one was Christmas, actually, right? You guys, double check, I guess. I think it was though. Yeah, Christmas time. Anyways, so trying to do this video, God kind of just told me to tell you guys what's happened within that 3 months. Tell them what I was going through. Yeah, tell the whole wide world, the internet, what's going on with me. Now look, guys, I hate telling people my problems, I just hate it. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I hate to be a burden to people. I don't tell people my problems, as you may tell, or you may know. I don't know if you guys do know, but anyway, I just don't like that. I feel like I'm a burden every time I come to somebody with my issues and my problems, which I'm learning is the wrong thing to think. So anyways, I'm telling you that this is going to be very hard for me, especially when any Jack or Jill can see this video and think whatever, but it doesn't matter. This is what Lord wanted, and that's just, But what I really hope is that maybe this really helps somebody. Now keep in mind, it's going to be very vague, but hopefully that means that more people can maybe relate, and maybe you or someone or something, maybe not exactly along these lines, or things along these lines thought of or not, but hopefully it helps. That's what this is, and maybe it's a little more therapy for me because I'm still honestly going through it. Okay, so anyway, guys, the reason I was gone a long time was I was pretty upset. I was going through a lot, to the point that I was angry at God and myself. Yeah, that's something probably you shouldn't say on the internet, really. Well, mainly it was me. I was more upset and angry at myself and why God made me the way I was, to kind of go into it a little bit. So in December of 2024, I lost someone very close and important to me. And this was my very first big loss. So I've experienced loss, especially where I grew up. There's a lot of suicide and a lot of other friends that have passed, and they were close, and they were good friends, but this was one that was this was somebody who I looked up to, who taught me life, who I'd known for my entire life, and I deeply loved and appreciated. Very, very, very close person. So it was my first big one, as you might say. Now, I wasn't angry at God I wasn't really even angry of the loss. I was, but it was one of those situations where he was ready to go. I didn't want him to go, obviously. Never want them, but at the same time, he was happy and ready to go, and I'm not going to stop that. And but what really made me mad was how timid I was during everything. I was scared. I was scared to ask or do anything during this time because this person, they went into hospice, and I was terrified to ask questions to questions like to get to know him more. I mean, this was my last chance, you know. I was scared to go and see him because I was terrified that when I went to go see him, that would be his last. I was scared to do anything. I was scared that I was no spiritual strength. Here I am, a person who was supposed to go to a Bible college, know about the scripture, and I had no words of encouragement, nothing from God. And I was upset about that and scared. I was scared to say anything to my family, to encourage them, or even there was a lot of, anytime a family member or like this goes, there's dispute, I was afraid to say anything. I didn't have any words from the Lord to encourage or to help direct anything like that, I didn't tell anybody how I felt, or anything. I say this a lot, but like I just literally just shut everybody off and came back and just I didn't let anybody know. And I also felt bad because, especially when it came to my family, because they all were talking about these memories and such, and I had memories. Don't get me wrong, I had beautiful, wonderful memories, but also they had stories upon stories upon stories, and they told about things that happened and things that I never knew about, never had a chance to, because a lot of my family, they were able to be close to this person 24/7, and I was not. I was here in Texas, and they, so I was very far away. So there were like times where they talked about issues and like, these big events that happened with our family, and I was here, and they were growing closer as a family together. It seemed like I felt like a black sheep, and that really upset me, and it was very painful for me. I was very upset on the pain and the discomfort that my person had to deal with. They're ready to go. Family's ready to go. They've all said their goodbyes, and yet they still have to go through the pain. It made me. I was so mad. So I was mad at God. I was mad at him for that. It just he's ready. What is, in fact, actually, that was probably one of the things, is that a lot of my family members, like, what is there to learn from this? I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't want to see him go, but I didn't want to see him suffer. So I was mad at God, and I was angry at how, at me, of course. I was angry at how he made me so I didn't say anything, or how timid I was, and how he could make me so useless. I felt it was, there was nothing I could have said, nothing I did. I felt useless. It was a whirlwind of emotions, and not able to talk or say about any of it or help anybody. And to be honest, I'm still working on this, guys. There's a part of me that really is still struggling. I still kind of have to deal with anger. It's kind of funny. I would get angry. When I got back here at work, I was very upset with everybody. Everybody was just really annoyed me, and I was angry, frustrated, again, mainly more at myself, and I treated everybody kind of badly, which I'm sorry for. But I was just upset, angry of what happened, how it happened, why I didn't do anything, didn't say anything, and just how everybody kind of acted through the whole thing. There was a little, there's always some family drama, and I was upset about that. Needless to say, it's not been good. And that was the biggest thing. There's other things that's going, but that really was the dictator. But through it all, I could get unctions that was like, so through all that pain that I was going through and that anger, I'd hear this, Dan, I'm still here for you. I still love you. I wish you didn't hurt. Which then I'd get more angry. I'd hear, I'm still here. And now you would expect that I would hear those things and then go to the Word and encourage myself and like a good Christian would, But I didn't. It made me more angry and made me even resent him more, because it's like, well, if you did, why, type thing. And I would get, again, it was more angry at myself instead of him. So I didn't do that. For the longest time, I refused because I was still mad. And I kind of wanted to be mad because I didn't feel good. I hated myself. But then he asked me, do you love me? Now, I need to put some context in this. One thing I did know is that he always loved me. He was my best friend. He got me through the worst times in my life before. This was probably the new worst time that I had ever had. But I knew even through the worst times of my life, God loved me and that he was always there for me. And I just knew that without a shadow. There was this revelation I got that God, he so loves me. And he so loves you. It has never left. And it's the one thing that I have to remind myself of. That he loves me even through the hardest times. So, of course, I said, yes, I do love you. The reason why is because I knew that he loved me, and I love him. And there's nothing that won't stop me from loving him, but man, I was angry at him. But he asked me again, and I said, yes. He asked me again, and I said, yes, I do. Getting frustrated at this time, about getting angry again. I'm kind of tired, actually, of being angry, but... And I'm kind of fed up with everything, just being angry, because I've been angry at him for a while. And you might not know, but being angry at God takes a lot of work. It was tiring. Needed to then just say, yes, I love you. I love you. I love you. And to over and over again, to the point, basically convincing myself. I mean, I loved him, don't get me wrong, but like just saying it over and over and over again, that I love you. Love you, God, and that I have the love of God. And so I just kept on saying those things, and I was saying, God, I love you. God, I love you, because I was tired of just being angry all the time. Because again, it takes so much work. It's crazy how much work it takes to be angry, and so how tiresome it is. Can't even imagine the people that had to deal with me, what they thought. And I kept saying that. This to me. He says, tell yourself what I say you are. And I was like, what? He says, what do I say you are? And I said, well, you say all these things. He said, no. That's true, yes. But what does the Word say? Me actually written down say about you. And so I kind of did a little like, you do the little Google search of like Bible verses for when you are angry with God. The little thing, here again, a Bible graduate, and had to go to Google. Ended up running upon Jeremiah 29:11. And he says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. And that, I tell you guys, hit me so hard, because he never wanted bad things to happen, never wanted me to be in hurt or in pain, and he always has a future and a brighter future for me. Romans also, I came within also Romans, and really all of Romans actually is a really good message or book. It's a good read for when you're angry. But Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Now, he asked me if I loved him. I said yes. And then he says that he works to all good to those who love him. That hit me. He has a tendency of being able to do that. And he showed me just a few verses before, in verse 26, it says, in the same way the Spirit helps us in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for. We do not know what to pray for, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. Now, that was probably something also I should have been doing, was praying, and I really wasn't because, again, I was angry. So that helped that, but what really got me was it says in wordless groans. Let me tell you guys, I was doing some groaning when I was angry. I was complaining, and I was, and so this really hit me, and so I started praying, and let me tell you, especially in tongues, because I didn't know what to pray. I didn't want to pray good fluffy prayers. So I started praying in tongues, and boom, God is the encourager. And then in a few verses down below, after, in verses 31 and 32, it says, what then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? Another thing is, no matter what comes against us, he is for us. 32, he says, he who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things? So even though, it just came it was another mindset of just, he gave his only son for me. What else? What is there not that he would not give? So this pain and suffering that I was going through, it's nothing compared to what he did for me. That's right, me. And that, it hit me. And I read it again. I had to start reading this again and again and again to get this down and get this in me, because just realizing how he doesn't want me to have pain. He doesn't want me to be angry. He wants what's best for me. He will not forsake me. He will not, he doesn't lead me to pain, to torture, or to teach me a lesson. Yes, I get taught lessons, but he didn't want any of that to hurt me. He didn't want that to happen. He loves me, even when I give him some toot. And I gave him a lot of toot, let me tell you. Attitude, that is, And then I started thinking of all the stories, all the people, almost every single person in the Bible that you can think of kind of went through the same. If you think about it, almost everybody did. I almost would say everybody, but I don't know for sure, so I can't say. But how they would love God and then, or not even know, have a trial and tribulation, and God would just rescue them. He loves you, and he has a plan for you to prosper and a future. Look at this in John 11:25 through 26. Jesus said, I want you to see this because this also got me encouraging for the death of losing someone. John 11:25 through 26 says, Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? And I remember when I first read this, I literally thought of the person, and they have literally said this almost verbatim. And they weren't even quoting the scripture. And it just gave me such peace of where they were. The hope for the future is everlasting life. And that gave me hope. So, guys, just to recap. He wants what's best for you. And no matter what happens, he has a good plan. I hope that this helped you guys. If you're either angry or depressed, or you're going through something, or lost somebody, it gives you some encouragement that there's a better plan. And to my family, my friends, I am sorry. I'm sorry for not being strong enough. I'm sorry for kind of closing you out, for the pain and the trouble I may have caused, that I did cause during that time, during this time. Lord knows, I did a lot, and a lot of people really, really felt it. And you people know who you are, and I'm sorry, again, and I just, yeah, sincerely apologize. I pray that you forgive me. Anyways, guys, with that, remember that I love you. He definitely loves you. You are victorious, and you are the royalty in God's kingdom. And I will see you in the next video. Later.